Wow, that's an incredible delay. All right. Let me get everybody else in the call now. There we are. Hello, everybody. Currently, I'm the only one here. Hopefully that'll change. This is what the storyboards look like before they're fixed for aspect ratio. And some of them just look like straight up, like they're, these are ones that are digital. Most of them look like this, where it's paper. This photography. So then I go in, add a new layer, make my brush white, and erase the boundary. Ooh, that's too small. And then I erase the boundaries. And add a new layer on top. This smaller brush size. And I extend what was erased. Ta-da! And I do that 1,000 times. How's quarantine for ya? It's quarantine. It's very restricting in what I can do well, I guess it's not very restricting in what I can do with the computer, obviously. I can do whatever. But it's restricting in the sense of if I want to go see a movie or something, can't do that. If I want to go bowling or something, can't do that. But, not complaining. I'm not saying that the quarantine should end anytime soon. Hell no. It needs to continue until the virus is dealt with. But, it gets boring being in the same house for over a week straight without leaving. This storyboard is for activation day. I didn't draw these boards. I'm just the one extending them into correct 16:9 aspect ratio. In fact, I might just duplicate this slide. Good, it's gotta say good morning. this slide, and it's more consistent. Although I probably should, in the same frame, get rid of the blaring, like, brah, brah, these lines, just so it's like a calm little computer screen. There we go. Uh-oh. There we go. Doing her stretches. Yeah, right, thank you. And then okay. Is Activation Day the first episode of Rebooted? Yes, it is. I am surprised I am still the only one here today. Feel free to ask questions. I know I'm the only one here, but I will answer them. In fact, I can get some royalty-free music going here, since no one else is in the room. How about some... Oh, that's loud. How about some classical? Smash 'em up mashups. To Nate, how's the casting? We haven't done a casting call in a while, so it's unchanged. If I recall correctly, we need to recast Silver Shell, Mr. Pigott, and Vice Principal Rosinski, and Glenn, because that voice actor, we haven't seen him in years, and he hasn't contacted us in a very long time. We don't know what happened to him. He kind of ghosted us. Well, I shouldn't say ghosted us, because he hasn't been on social media as well in years. So it's more like he just up and left the internet altogether. So it's not, I shouldn't put it in the sense that he's, because ghosting usually implies that they're active somewhere else as well. Like you can see, like that you can see them acting somewhere, or talking to other people and stuff, but they're just ignoring you. That's what it usually implies. But this person literally just left social media altogether, so we don't know what happened to him. So we have to replace his roles. Is the music too loud? I want to make sure it's not. No, my voice is clearly louder. Okay, good. Is the first episode finished? No. I'm working on it. This is the Animatic. Nebelcon, I can help you out with the animation. By all means, sign up. Smash 'em up mashups. Are you voicing Brad? I am not. Eric Peters is. I am voicing Smitus, and I am voicing Terawatt Gigawatt. And I'm also voicing XJ8. But to be honest, anyone can voice XJ8, because all you have to do is speak in a monotone voice, and the computer does the rest. But I am voicing Smitus and Gigawatt Terawatt. Oh, I'm also voicing Looper. I forgot him. I'm also Looper's the easiest out of all of them. He's just my voice, only I speak in a... I force my voice to crack all the time, and I force myself to say the same word over and over again. So Looper's pretty easy to do. Eric's the guy who plays a guitar and the harmonica every once in a while, once he's on here in the live stream. It's also known as, what's his Discord tagline? I just know him as Eric. Oh, he just goes by Eric P now on Discord. So yeah, that's him. Who is voicing Jenny? Can't reveal that right now. the voice actress has asked us to not say her name yet. And that's completely okay on her part. That's 100% A-okay. But gotta follow her wishes. My only complaint about this shot is that I wish the computer wasn't like so up there. I would like it to be more right here. Because right now it's just kind of getting cut off. See, like, that looks good, because it's, like, right behind her, and it's, like, the camera angle we can see, like, she's like, ah, and then, and this one's fine. It's just this one where it's just like, it disappears. It gets cut off by the frame. What if I did this? If I did that, and then I went down here, and I just redrew. In fact, what if I just... I would assume this is the more... correct computer screen. Ooh, getting some Phantom of the... not Phantom of the Opera. What's this? Phantom of the Opera is like... Dun 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 dun. Ah, Bach. This is Bach. That's it. This is what everybody thinks is Phantom of the Opera, but then they realize it's not. surely be in the background. Nope, never mind. I forgot. Organ is one of the coolest instruments ever. Yes, it's very awesome. Especially if you want to make it sound very dramatic and... what's the term? Not angelic, but... quote-unquote religious, for lack of a better term. Kind of like... that kind of feeling that it's like... it's the godly instrument where it's like it's important, it's overbearing. That's sort of kind of feel. That's what I always felt like the organ kind of delivers. It's always kind of like this overpowering sound. Khan. Yeah, I did send an application. Ooh, hold on. Let me check the emails. I assume I will admit I have not looked at applications for a while. Can't get enough. I literally just loaded up a random, royalty-free classical music track. I have no idea what's coming up on these. It's honestly a surprise when it's, when it comes up. Do I mean dramatic? No, it's a specific term that kind of implies kind of this religious power sort of deal. I forgot the term. I'm blanking. Anyway, NebelCon. Oh, yeah, there you are. I found your application. Found it. I am surprised I am the only one here right now. This is it's kind of like a do waiting for people to show up.
Hey, Nathan.
Hey.
Live stream going on?
Good so far. Hello. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna just replace that background. I'm gonna keep. This one I recognize from. It always shows up in a few weddings or wedding montages, and it absolutely is usually the hallmark go-to classical music whenever someone visits Britain in a TV or a movie. It's like, you're going to Britain. Da, na, 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 na. It's just...
What you doing right now?
Right now I'm working on Activation Day Animatic.
Oh, okay.
Right in the morning. It's the point in the morning when Wakeman wakes up from a very long night of building a particular project. I'm going to do the same thing. Duplicate the panel. Delete. Just, well, first erase what's on it.
Any specific things that you planned for the live stream? Or just anime?
Yep. We got something specific planned later on. Did I just draw that on the wrong layer? I did. I don't need this one anymore. Ah, I found the one where This is the what is it? Für Elise by Beethoven. This is the classical. If you want to make a character sound smart, but not in a good way, a very stereotypical way of sounding smart, you put this in the background. It's just like, if you want to make them sound really pretentious and really smart, you put this in the background. I don't know how I'm gonna do this shot where she turns and. I feel like I need to draw her leaving her seat here. And then I can have her just like be at the doorway ready to leave. So let me just add a frame. This one I want to erase. Smash 'em Up mashups to Nate and company. Have you guys ever seen The Rise of Skywalker? I did. I hated it. I think it's the worst Star Wars movie ever made. But that's just me. I don't know if that's how everyone else feels. This is an oddly trumpet version of Hungarian Rhapsody number 2, isn't it? Yeah, it is. This is what... And the reason why I recognize it is because it's the same song. If you go back and watch some of the classic cartoons, it's the same song that Tom plays in that Tom and Jerry episode where he's playing the piano. And it's also the same song that Bugs Bunny plays at this in a similar scenario where he's playing a piano in front of a large audience. And it's also the same song if you watch Roger Rabbit when Daffy Duck and Donald Duck are having a piano off. It's Hungarian Rhapsody number 2. To Nate and company, have you seen Clone Wars Season 7? Yes, I have, and I think it's some of the best Star Wars content ever made. There's my two hot takes right there. Rise of Skywalker, worst Star Wars movie ever made. Clone Wars Season 7, some of the best Star Wars content ever made. Uh-oh. Sean had to dip out, I think. I'm alone again. How many episodes have we finished so far? Everybody take a shot. We are working on them all at the same time, so it's not a matter of how many have we finished so far. It's just what progress we are at. We are currently on Animatics. Some of the episodes are 100% recorded. All of the episodes are 100% written, and all the major character designs have been completed. So it's like any character designs that are left are like background people. When like, someone sketch up a station manager, and this just done. It's like, no, doesn't really have to put any thought into, or at least major thought into that design. At least the same considerate. It just has to fit the style. It just in comparison to like say a major villain that we have to design. That usually has a few passes to it, where it's like pass 1, pass 2. What about these designs? What about this concept? What if we gave him a horn here and that sort of thing? Versus again like a background character where it's basically the first design someone comes up with that matches the style, and then that's it. It's like it's not, you don't have to put so much thought into it. To Nate and company, I thought The Rise of Skywalker was amazing. The return of Palpatine and Lando, and how C-3PO gets a major role, and he's much more useful than the last movies. Well, good for you. You're wrong. I'm kidding, but I'm kidding. But I would disagree. I thought the return of Palpatine sucked, and completely takes away Darth Vader's sacrifice in Episode 6. I also think Lando, while he was fun that he came back, he did nothing. He could have been replaced with literally any other character, and it would have been exact same result. You just needed someone to rally the troops, and for a Thanos Endgame style arrival with all those ships. It could have been any other character. And then C-3PO, I agree that he did more than usual, but at the same time, I really hate how they treated his supposed sacrifice. They were building it. First of all, they built it up where it's like, I'm taking one last look at my friends. And it's like, literally, some of those people in those rooms he met that same day. And I'm like, and then the rest of them, he hadn't known for, what, over 2 years? And these are your best friends? No, your best friend is like someone like Luke, Leia, Chewie. I know Han is already dead, and Luke can be a Force ghost, but like, those are your best friends, C-3PO. Not these schmucks.
Yikes! That would not be a good idea.
Nick's here. But that's my controversial hot take on Rise of Skywalker. I really did not like that movie at all. And don't even get me started about force healing. How much it screws up the lore on that. But on the flip side, I am very much enjoying season 7 of the Clone Wars. That's like, I'm like all in, baby. That's like I'm having such a good time. I think it's awesome. Hello there. Yes, XJ0. What Builderman 54321. What about Star Wars Rebels? It's okay. It really picked up the pace when Thrawn was involved, and especially when Ahsoka and Rex and Darth Vader got involved. But I would say it's the biggest thing that Rebels suffers is that it's like 50% filler. There are so many episodes where you could just like ignore entirely and you get the same plot line. My only complaint about Season 7 of the Clone Wars is that we're only probably going to get 1 second of Grievous. And God, that freaking Grievous model looks sick. and I want to see more of it, and I'm upset we're just going to be seeing, that's it, that's the 1 second we're going to see. I just, oh well. It's just like, I am very much enjoying the end of the Clone Wars right now, so it's not, it's like a, and it's like, it's a double-edged sword, because I know if we would have seen the Battle of Coruscant, or at least the build-up to it, where where Grievous steals the Chancellor and everything like that, or kidnaps him, it would have officially decanonized his assault on Coruscant in the 2D version of the Clone Wars. It would have directly conflicted. But now that we didn't see it, I assume that 2D Clone Wars that depicts his assault still stands in canon, which is really cool because he's a total badass in that series. So,
as long as Disney Plus at least accepts Cartoon Network's timeline.
well, officially they don't. But at the same time, without it, it leaves a lot of stones unturned. You don't know how Anakin became a Jedi Knight. You don't know where Asajj Ventress came from, aside from those brief little flashbacks we see in that one Clone Wars episode. But it really, you don't see her meeting Count Dooku for the first time. You see that in the 2D Clone Wars, though. You don't see Grievous's introduction in the 3D Clone Wars. And honestly, you don't see the beginning stages of the war in general. You just kind of, and if you just watch the 3D Clone Wars, you're just kind of dropped into the middle of the Clone Wars. You don't see the beginning year. Meanwhile, in the 2D Clone Wars, you see that beginning year of like how things start out. You see the beginning of the ARC Trooper formation, which is expanded upon in the 3D Clone Wars. You see, like I said, the introduction of all those villains. You see Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker as if they had just left Episode 2. They're still in that design. Meanwhile, again, if you just jump straight into the 3D Clone Wars, they look closer to Episode 3 all of a sudden. Not exactly. It's more like a middle point when you start the 3D Clone Wars, and then you eventually transition into the Revenge of the Sith. But point is, I would consider a lot of that 2D stuff that Gennady Tartakovsky did canon still. And if I were to even offer an even greater defense, not only was the 3D Clone Wars built from the ground up as a continuation of that 2D series, even down to the design. That's why Count Dooku has a seriously pointy chin. That's why Anakin Skywalker and General Kenobi have these armor sets on them that like exactly match what they were in the 2D Clone Wars, etc., etc. Not only all that, but some of the in-universe canon that Disney's canon directly references battles from the 2D Clone Wars. Hypori, I believe the first Battle of Calamari was referenced. I'm fairly certain the Battle of Mulnus was also referenced in the Disney Disney canon. So, and especially what was referenced is that planet that Count Dooku finds Asajj Ventress on. It's the exact same planet where her master died, that we see the flashbacks, and we see those, and her master die, and we see her at the hands of pirates, and it's the exact same planet. So you can you can bridge the gaps of, you see her get her master's lightsaber, and then she has her lightsaber. That's how she got the two lightsabers. And then she eventually ends up in the arena in that same planet, and that's when Count Dooku finds her. And then you can assume right after, she takes him to that palace that he's got, and it's just like, it fits. It really fits. Anyway, that's me rambling about 2D Clone Wars that I still consider canon in many senses of the word. To Nate and Company, last Star Wars question, I swear. Do you know that the Ahsoka Maul fight in Season 7 is timed to Windu, Palpatine, and Vader's knighting? They're going on at the same time. I don't know if that's the case. It seems more like it's going on the exact same time as General Grievous's fight with Obi-Wan. And which I agree is, like, they're very neck and neck in terms of, like, what's going on at the same time. But the way Obi-Wan was talking in that hologram seemed to me that he hadn't left yet for Utapau. He was just reporting to Ahsoka, the Jedi Council have sent me to Utapau to track down Grievous. So he hadn't left yet. So I'm assuming that Ahsoka's fight with Darth Maul and that whole skirmish on Mandalore is happening during the Battle of Utapau as Obi-Wan is fighting Grievous.
Yes.
Now, do I think we're about to see Order 66 in the next episode? Hell yeah, I do. But I don't think it's like... I don't think it's exactly the time when Anakin and Windu and Palpatine are doing their shtick. Thoughts on the first half of Season 1 of Teenage Robot? Getting off of Star Wars. It's pretty good. I prefer... My rankings of seasons is Season 2, Season 1, Season 3. In terms of favorites. Which is odd, because in technicality, my favorite episode is a Season 3 episode, Escape from Cluster Prime. But that's the technicality.
Actually, it was supposed to be a Season 2 episode, ain't it?
Well, it was meant to be a Season 3 episode, but it's treated as the Season 2 finale.
Could that be like count like around 14 episodes for Season 3 then?
I don't know. It's just I just know it was produced in the same production cycle as Season 3, and it was released early as a Season 2 finale.
Hmm.
Jenny Wakeman asks, how about Season 2 of Teenage Robot? What are your thoughts, nerds? It's overall my favorite season. I think it's where the comedy's at its best, the action's at its best, and the only really dud episode I thought was in Season 2 was Robot for All Seasons. I thought that was kind of a dud. But overall, though, I thought Season 2 was the better of the trilogy of seasons. Trying to draw her chair. That was horrible. Just kind of like comes out of the base, yeah.
Little Big Cookie asks, will we ever see Tin Can Man in the reboot?
Tin Can, his suit was destroyed.
Glitter Pastel Season 4 will be coming out soon.
Trying our best. Could probably draw that chair better later on. Michael18751, can I share a funny video about Flash and Toon Boom? I mean, I guess. I don't know how you would go about sharing that other than providing a link, but you can try. Necrolotus Original. Are you guys still taking crew requests? If you mean by crew requests, if you mean just auditions in general, yes. Especially if you're looking to do storyboards and animation. I will fully admit, we're not really looking for script writers because we have wrapped up script writing for Season 4, and Season 5 ain't going to be considered for a long time. So I would not try and sign up as a scriptwriter right now. But if you sign up as a storyboard artist or an animator, you're more likely to get in than not.
Trust me, we need animators now more than ever in order for Season 4 to be complete.
The little big cookie. This stream wants me to hold my cup of tea with my pinky out.
Oh!
Since I got the classical music going on. I feel classical music is underrated. I really enjoy listening to it. A lot of people don't like it because of how old it is, but I honestly really enjoy it. It's very calming. And some of it's actually really exciting too, like the 1812 Overture, Rite of Spring. That's awesome too.
Oh, you're actually playing it.
Oh yeah. We got royalty-free music playing right now.
This music makes me really British for some reason, and I don't know how to feel for this.
I wish I could play a royalty-free version of the 1812 Overture, but to my knowledge, one does not exist. To my knowledge. I could be completely wrong. Same for Rite of Spring. It's Ride of the Valkyries. Standard. If you want your characters to be impressive while flying something large, here it is. Namely helicopters.
Here's what.
character design. I can look up Necrodelis original, but I don't recognize that at all. Necrolotus. Yeah, I don't have a an audition by that name. Maybe I shouldn't do it. This one kind of implies she's jumping out of her chair. Maybe I should just use some bent knees. Yeah, that one makes her feel more old. You gotta use all my limbs to get out of my chair. Can't just hop out. Whoops, I drew her buttons on a wrong layer.
Oh, whoa, oh boy.
You know, if a Toon Boom executive is watching, I would really like this.
There's a Discord server on for Toon Boom, actually.
Well, I'm just saying in general, I would really like it. See if what it does right now for Storyboard Pro. See how this layer has E, right? There's like an E layer on my my board here. If I go to a different board, obviously there is no E there anymore. It's the maximum is C. I would really prefer if someone at Toon Boom could program into Storyboard Pro the ability to maintain the layer per board rather than carrying over. If you were on C layer in one board, then it transfers you to C layer on another. I would prefer it if I just click on E, and if I go to another frame and I go back, it just stays on E instead of jumping to C, because that's the maximum on this one. But oh well. It's still a good board. It's still a good boarding program. Did it again! I drew those arrows on C layer. I think we have reached the end of the classical music and the royalty-free stuff. Ah, okay. Necrolotus. Okay. You want me? I just got it, and I saw what you sent. Do you want me? I'll ask you if you want me to comment on it right now. I'll wait for his response on that. He just sent it again, so if you want me to comment on it right now, I can. I just got it. Necrolotus original. Okay. No, it is not horrible. Don't beat yourself up. It's actually fairly decent at maintaining the teenage robot art style. The main problem, is that you're submitting, you're auditioning for character design, but you're not designing a character. You're replicating Jenny and Brad. For character design, you got to audition. You got to design new characters. However, I will say, if you don't want to do so and you're more so comfortable in just replicating the teenage robot art style, I would recommend auditioning for a storyboard position, because
animation as well.
Well, I don't know if he has an animation program. Usually, for animation, you have to have an animation program. But you don't need that with a storyboard audition, because we have storyboard templates for you to use that you could print out and do like many do, and just do pencil, and then we scan them in, and then yada yada. Because the whole point of storyboard is to draw the characters in different poses as close into the teenage robot art style as you can. And just design the shots and stuff like that. So, if you want to, I would recommend, if you don't want to character design, or designing a new character to audition with, I would recommend auditioning for storyboard artist, because that is completely viable to just draw Jenny and Brad and everybody like that, the normal guys in a storyboard. But like I said, if you want to audition for a character designer, you have to do 3 new characters of your own design that match the teenage robot art style. You don't have to come up with backstories for them, and you don't have to do like all this. You don't have to come up with an episode to come with it. It's just a method of proving you can design in the style of the teenage robot universe. And if not, you can design something really cool looking that we would then transfer into teenage robot style, because there's actually been some people who have been accepted because they drew some really cool looking characters, even though they didn't really draw them in the style of teenage robot. They just drew some very cool looking characters. Yeah, Plants 10,000. You don't necessarily need to replicate the teenage robot style in character design. It's heavily recommended, like heavily, because if you replicate the style, it's much easier to transfer into actual model sheets and stuff like that, because it's and stuff that we can use for like posters and stuff like that. It's easier, but like I said, I'm very open in the sense of like, there's been a few crew members who have gotten on board who can't really replicate the teenage robot style, but they can design some fun looking characters. So it's like that we can then transfer into the teenage robot style. So I'm open to that. If you're going to be an animator, though, that's where I am an insane stickler on keeping it to teenage robot's art style. I put all the pressure on the animation team on keeping the style of, even not so much on the storyboard. I put more pressure on storyboard artists than I do character designers on maintaining the teenage robot art style, but I am not as much of a stickler as I am with them as I am with the animation department. Those are the guys where I'm like, this person's finger is too big. I need it to be smaller to match the style. It's like, well, maybe not that extreme, but you get my point. The 2D animators are the ones where I'm like, you better replicate the style on point. Because even, like, I'm going to be completely honest, the Teenage Robot style is not even my normal drawing style. My normal drawing style is actually pretty detailed. It's not, and very organic in the sense, I don't want to say realistic because I never do shading. But I do, when I normally draw things, when I draw, like, reptiles and dinosaurs, that's what I usually draw. I usually draw the realistic proportions and realistic scales and stuff like that. I do not usually draw in Teenage Robot style in my free time. So it's like, I totally understand if someone is designing a character, but that's not exactly matching the Teenage Robot art style. I completely get it. But it's when it comes to animation that the whole job of an animator, like your sole job of animation, is to animate the character to accurately represent the emotion that they're feeling in the shot and in the frame and you know what in the dialogue, etc. And number 2, animate it in the style of the show. That's your 2 jobs as an animator. If you don't match those 2 jobs, this sounds harsh, but you're not doing a good job animating. But that's the name of the game. That's like the two jobs that an animator has. Oh, for my personal style, yeah, it's kind of a mixture of both. I add some realistic proportions to my own art style, but I also go detailed a lot. Lance 10,000 was asking the question. Can you? Some random fan asks. Great username. Can you reference? And then they have a mouse and a cheese. I don't know what that means.
No cheese, Gromit. Not even
Not
a
a bit
mouse
enough.
could even do it.
That's a bit in the house.
And there we go. So now it's like we have her walking, getting up out of her seat in the same shot. Although I can shrink that, how long it takes to her to get out of that chair and walk.
There's
Hang on. Oh, there it's 7:20, and then it's like it says 7:20. All right, that's fine. I thought it was jumping from 7 o'clock to 7:20 all of a sudden. Oh man, so many questions. Plants. That's a good one. This is a fun one. Plants 10,000. How terrible great are the puns so far in Rebooted? Oh, we got some groaners. We got some groaner puns. Don't. I really enjoy. I enjoy a good pun. I am one of. I am. And what I mean by groaner is not in the sense of like, wow, that was really dumb. That's a stupid pun, but in the sense of like, you can't believe they just made that a pun. That's like, we have a freaking villain named Terawatt, for crying out loud. And it's a pun because terror, watt, terra, watt. So it's like that's a pun, for crying out loud. You can imagine how fun we're having with puns. Anyway. Nebel Khan, to Nate, is my art style good enough to work as an animator? I can talk about what you just sent in. I found what you sent in. If you grant me permission to, because I am not one to talk about things without knowing I'm allowed to. Necrolotus original. I'm an artist and I'm slowly working on Teenage Robot Star. You said people send in cool art, so if you want me to send in my own art, you can see what I'm capable of then. Sure. If you want to audition for a character designer or background artist, then yeah, you would just be sending in some cool looking art that you can do. Specifically though, if you want to get into specifics, if you want to be a character designer, you send in some cool characters that you've designed. Try and go for Teenage Robot Style. You get bonus points for that. But if you can just ensure that they're cool-looking character designers, that's more open to that. For background art style, again, I heavily recommend in the style of Teenage Robot. But if you have some cool-looking background designs in general, that we're also open to that. The problem, okay, this is the major problem though. So it's like the reason why we emphasize Teenage Robot style so much in the early stages is, say someone comes on and does a wicked cool background design, like top-notch colors and everything, really detailed, awesome looking. If it's not in the Teenage Robot style, it's only useful in the sense that it captures the design. We can't use it in the actual episode because it doesn't match the Teenage Robot art style. Someone down the line has to completely redraw that in the Teenage Robot art style. Even if it's like colored, if it's got different layers for the characters to walk behind and stuff like that, doesn't matter if it's not in the Teenage Robot art style. We can't use it. So that's why I emphasize the importance of practicing in the Teenage Robot art style for the show. Again, if you're coming up with an awesome looking character design or an awesome looking background, just because it's not in the Teenage Robot art style doesn't mean we're gonna say no. It just means that it means someone has to redraw it down the line, and that's adding a new task, on the list. So that's why I heavily recommend practicing and submitting things in the Teenage Robot art style, is because that's not Jenny Wakeman, not terror what as in W-H-A-T, terror watt, W-A-T-T.
Imagine if Shane Manowar. How about the crew?
Hold on, I'm getting to that. I'm behind. I'm on Nebel Khan. Nebel Khan. Okay, you said yes. First things first. The pictures you sent in are super, super hard to read. They are not. These are not high quality photos. I would, if you're forced to take pictures with your, it appears you're taking pictures with your phone camera. If you're forced to take pictures of that, get better lighting. But I would heavily recommend instead using a scanner. Most printers nowadays, if you got a printer, they come with scanners. So just scan the drawings in and send them in. In terms of applying for animation, that unfortunately would not qualify, not because of the art style, but because the medium you sent it in. Nothing is animated. They're just pictures of poses, Granted, I understand that in the application description for 2D animation, it says that you can submit a bunch of animation frames, but they gotta be animation frames. That's more in the sense of like it's considering people who don't have an animation program, but they have a bunch of pencils and paper, and they do the lightbox style of animation where they keep flipping through the classic style of animation. That's there so it doesn't turn those people away. What you sent here is just a bunch of poses of Jenny. It's not really animation, so I can't really judge it on animation. I can only judge it on storyboarding, because that's more representative of what you've drawn here. It's these squares, these separate squares, rectangles of the character in different poses, and I assume it's trying to tell a story. That's more indicative of storyboard artists. So my biggest recommendation for you is to fill out a storyboard application and fill out a storyboard template and apply for storyboard artist, and on top of that, find a scanner so you can more properly send in what you draw. That would be my recommendation for you, Nebelcon. All right, what am I missing also? I don't know. Imagine, isn't Shade Man the guy who draws all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We don't need that kind of baggage. I guess by technicality, he's a good artist, but I'm not a big fan of what he draws, of the art itself, so.
Yeah, and I don't think we might be, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess if you want to go by technicality, like if you want to, it's technically drawn well. It's just we're not supporting the content that he's making. So. Jeremy Pina 17. Would it count if you change a character's look as an idea for an episode? Misty dressed up as an assassin. Not really. It's a hard... Because you're basically designing a new outfit for the character. That's like... You're not really designing a character in of itself. You're designing an outfit for an existing character. That's not exactly the same. It's better than if you're... I assume you're trying to apply for character design. It's better than just drawing the exact same character the exact same way as they were in the old show, because that's not designing anything. You're just redrawing them, But it's better than that. But at the same time, I would really emphasize on a new character of your own design. Because the entire point of the audition there for the character design is to judge your capabilities of creating a new character. That's or designing a new character. Like, do you understand design balance in the sense of, like, do you understand when a character is overly complicated? Do you understand when a character is undercomplicated, when it's not complicated enough? Do you understand design principles in following basic flow of a pose? Do you understand what elements you can put into a character to be able to read what the character is just by looking at them? And it's like that's what's being targeted when we're looking at character design auditions. Nebelcon, how about wait until the graphic tablet arrives? Oh, if you got a tablet, then yeah, I would. If you got a tablet, ditch. My recommendation, since Teenage Robot Rebooted is more of a digital format, if you got a graphics tablet, ditch pencil and paper altogether. Just go full on with your graphics tablet. If you got,
or even better, if you buy an iPad, that's another. That's just another stammering. That is a graphics tablet, an iPad.
because it's a tablet and you can draw graphics on it. That's just the general definition there. But yes, if you got a graphics tablet, I would recommend ditching pencil and paper altogether and going straight into just digital stuff. And and the reason why I do that is because, and why I say that is because first of all, it gives you practice for, because I'm gonna be real with you guys, the industry is way more digital oriented nowadays than traditional pen and paper paint. And two, since we are more digital oriented, it eliminates a step, and we have to translate whatever you draw on pencil and paper into a digital format anyway. So it's just like, I would just recommend going full on graphics tablet if you can. Mark Wither, hello there, General Kenobi.
That's fine.
Do I need this shot with the yes ma'am? I feel like I don't need it. I like the little toast graphic because it tells you what the computer's preparing for her. But I feel like I can just put that toast graphic on this computer as she's walking away, and then it would just read just the same. I'll keep it for now, and then because it's an easy transfer digitally. Honestly, it's in editing. I can just, if I ever change my mind, I can just take this, and since it's got a completely white background, I turn on the masking layer as darkening, and I shrink it down and overlap it on top of this thing, and then it's exactly the same. So. Well, yeah, you guys can't see the script, but this is, she's spent a full night on working on a certain project, and then she wakes up, and then so she basically is like, time for a nap now, and then, good morning, and then she's like stretching, and then the computer's basically asking like, what would you like for breakfast? Would you like eggs and toast? And then she's like, oh, toast is just fine, and then she leaves, and then, yes, ma'am, ding, and then it's like, she's gonna go upstairs and get her toast. It's basically just to show that, her house is already technology savvy, and it's like we're basically just showing a routine of Wakeman in the early morning. Calm before the storm. We're gonna get CalArt style if we get Teenage Robot rebooted. I am both a supporter of the idea of a CalArt style and a denier, because I do not think there is a universe. I think what people are judging is that I don't think there's a universal CalArt style. That's dishonest. I know it's easy to compare the heads of Steven Universe. What's his face? The blue cat. Gumball. That's his name. If you compare that, and you compare Clarence, and you set them all up in a similar with the same smiling face with the teeth and everything, it's very easy to go, oh, these all have the same art style. And that's not the case. That's if you watch the actual shows, it's very different art styles. What you're looking at and what you're seeing in the similarity is both the bean-shaped, first of all, the bean-shaped smile, which I will agree that is the exact same smile. But what you're also looking at is that this recent trend in the recent decade of thin outlined cartoons. They have recently, in the last decade, taken over. Most, if not all, mainstream cartoons nowadays are thin line cartoons. Even SpongeBob has moved away from the thick outlines that it once was to the more thin style outlines. It's actually kind of interesting if you like compare the old style, the old art style of SpongeBob, I believe season 1, 2, 3, to the more recent seasons. You can very much tell how much those lines have decreased in thickness. What you're looking at, that's where I would critique series from being too similar to one another. Is that their thickness is very similar, their line thickness is really similar, the shapes that they use is always kind of round and soft. Like, that's where I would critique being too similar to one another. I would not, though, say that they all have the exact same art style. That's a little dishonest, because if you take a character from Steven Universe and you slap it in the same universe as, like, Clarence or Gumball, they look out of place. They don't look like they're from the same show.
Remember saying Uncle? That's a same basic concept.
Well, yeah, but that's exactly my point, though. Uncle Grandpa doesn't look like he belonged in that universe. It was a crossover episode, but you could take the character design of Uncle Grandpa and very much tell that this guy's from a different show. The colors don't match, the art style doesn't match. He's very blocky, while everybody else in the Crystal Gems, including Steven, has more of a rounder shape to them. I would be more so. If I were to recommend Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Disney and a lot, I would just more so recommend having more fun with thinking about other ways to draw characters rather than just the standard thin lines and the soft shape. Again, there's a lot you can do with that. That's why I'm not saying that it's a general CalArts style, quote unquote, because that's not indicative, first of all, of CalArts, and because CalArts is a school. It's not a style. And second of all, there's a lot you can do with the softness and the bean shaped sort of style and the thin lines. There's a lot you can do with that. I would more so just recommend, hey, how about having a sharp show, or maybe a show with some thicker lines again, or maybe a show where you got the thin lines but everybody's kind of blocky, and kind of like how the Batman, they had Batman the animated series, very thin lines but very blocky people, very blocky looking people.
What about Transformers Animated?
That's another. That one's more anime influence. That's kind of the Western anime style that Avatar also did, and the first Teen Titans. That's more that style, but same deal. Where it's, yes, you're having more fun with the style, and not just making something that is kind of similar to what's also on TV.
Nick Dermot's original just sent in another character design audition.
Mm-hmm. All right, I will keep that in mind and take a look. What are we at? 30 minutes remaining? Whew, man, time flies. We're gonna get to the part. We do have an animatic preview for you guys again. It's a more. This animatic preview was completed back in March.
Yes, before the whole entire April Fool's joke.
Yeah, I think it was.
We made that around the same time we did the April Fool's joke.
It was completed right around the time the coronavirus was taking hold on America. That was when we completed this animatic preview that you're going to see today. Early March, not late March. But we're gonna save that to the end. No, Smash from Mashift, I disagree. He says if we could have seen a Clarence Steven Universe crossover episode. I am in the unpopular boat where I very much enjoyed the crossover episode with Uncle Grandpa, with Steven Universe. But I only enjoyed it because the people who were making it seemed to acknowledge how ridiculous it was, and it had a lot of fourth wall break jokes, basically making fun of itself, and how they understood, the writers and the animators understood how stupid this was, how stupid a concept it was. I don't think the same thing would have carried over if it would have crossovered with Clarence. I don't so that I would have preferred if they were just going to have a crossover episode, that would have been it.
And you should have seen Teen Titans Go versus the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, that's another example of it's kind of a dumb crossovers in general. I'm not an immense fan of, because it's very rarely do series actually have fun with the idea of the crossover. It's very unnecessary. Usually what happens, if you want to talk about tropes, usually what happens in crossover episodes, it usually begins first focusing on one series. Even though it's a crossover episode, it gets relegated to one series. Like, for instance, Kim Possible once crossovered with Lilo and Stitch. Did that show up in the did that show up in the Kim Possible lineup of its own series? No, it's under Lilo and Stitch. It's first of all, it gets relegated to one of those series. Second of all,
Lilo and Stitch appeared in
plus the fact that the backgrounds kind of swapped around between Lilo and Stitch and Kim Possible styles.
Right. And then second thing about your usual trope with a crossover episode is that they suddenly exist in the same universe, right?
Yeah.
There's some series that play around with the idea that they're literally traveling through a portal, but there's some series where they literally exist in the same universe. That usually sparks conflict for the rest of the series, because now that you've established the idea that they are in the same universe canonically, all of a sudden, if you have a world-ending event, you start to have the Avengers problem, where it's like you're following around Doctor Strange in his solo movie, and there's a world-ending problem going on. You suddenly think to yourself, where the hell are the Avengers? Wouldn't they get on this right now? And it's like the entire New York street is getting ripped apart. Freaking Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, get on it. But and so you got a similar problem with that with a crossover episode in Lilo and Stitch. And with
or in theoretical crossovers, Rugrats Go Wild. Remember the Rugrats in the Wild Thornberry?
Well, Rugrats are a bunch of babies. If there's a world-ending event that the Wild Thornberries has to deal with, I don't expect the Rugrats to jump on board and deal with it.
Unless they're the age from All Grown Up.
Right. Well, even then, they're more so citizens. I'm more so talking about Kim Possible's whole shtick is that she's a superhero, secret agent sort of deal. She's dealing with a world-ending event or something by Kraken, or Dr. Kraken or something. Lilo and Stitch, you have a bunch of spaceships and a bunch of freaky alien monsters. You can definitely help out with that. Why aren't you? And again, it's because it's obviously the obvious case is that the series owners just want to keep it relegated to their series for their world-ending event, which makes sense. I'm not saying that they should do it. I'm just saying that that since you have introduced a crossover episode, and that you've established that they live and exist in the same universe, it now opens up that question of where are they in this world-ending event? They could absolutely help out. It's different, of course, when you're talking about characters who can't help out. But in the case of Lilo and Stitch, I would say that you can definitely help out with a world-ending event there.
KKO is a crossover mayhem.
Yeah, that one I admit had more fun with the crossover concept than usual.
Especially the Ghoul Girls from the old cartoon. Remember
Another trope you always see with crossovers, usually, someone's always fighting somebody. It usually happens where it's like the two characters or the two main characters are at odds with one another throughout the entire episode. And then some big bad shows up, and then they have to work together, and they go, "Oh, I guess you're not so bad. After all, maybe we'll meet up again one day." And then they never meet up again. So it's like, that's another trope that I'm not a giant fan of in animation.
Me neither. It's just
at least in crossovers. I don't deny that there's some clever ways you can do crossover episodes. Namely, if you ignore some of these tropes and have more fun with just the concept of these two characters joining up in the first place. Just skip over the part where they're fighting each other. We all know how it's going to happen. We all know that Lilo and Stitch, they crossed over with American Dragon once too. We all know that Stitch and the Dragon Kid are going to stop fighting midway through the episode and start fighting the bad guy. We know.
What about Aladdin and Hercules?
Just get to that part.
Lilo and Stitch and Recess.
Oh yeah, Stitch and Recess too. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't even remember that one. Did they cross over with Recess?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even remember that. I just remember the American Dragon crossover and the Kim Possible crossover.
I did mention about Hercules and Aladdin.
Yeah, that was another one that followed all the same tropes. Only that one, on top of that, you had the bonus of the villains, the trope of the villains teaming up to defeat the heroes. But they also had the same trope where Hercules and Aladdin were competing with one another until the big bad showed up, and they had to deal with the big bad. They became friends, and by the end of the episode, they were like, "Maybe we'll see you again someday."
and then
they never do.
Kingdom Hearts.
No, well, Kingdom Hearts is a little different. Their entire premise is crossover. It's crossover, the video game. But
What about the Simpsons guy? That one was a little bit too much for
yeah,
the
that's another
Simpsons.
and they did the similar tropes as well. Yeah. I don't know.
Simpson
I'm not the biggest
and
fan of
Futurama.
crossovers. I'm not the biggest fan of crossovers in general. I'm only a fan of them when they do something a little bit creative. When they do a little bit more something creative with the crossover concept, and usually they don't. So it's usually when someone announces a crossover, it's like, oh, here we go. But hey, sometimes they surprise me. Like I said, the OKKO, that was a Ghoul crossover. Because they played with the entire concept of being canceled and the entire concept of crossing over in general. The Jimmy Timmy Power Hour in general was a fun crossover series. That was pretty cool. And
The CGI designs were ugly in that one.
well, they were actually had the balls to cross over the styles. They didn't just have. I would say my critique of the Uncle Grandpa crossover with Steven Universe is that Uncle Grandpa is just in his style. I would have appreciated it way more if they redrew Uncle Grandpa in the style of the universe they were setting foot in. He was setting foot in, like they did the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. When Timmy and company crossed over to Jimmy's universe, they were CGI models. When the CGI models of Jimmy Neutron crosses over to Timmy's universe, they're 2D.
Butch Hartman
That's cool.
style.
Yeah, Butch Hartman style. That's cool. That's really awesome. I would recommend doing that whenever you do have a crossover in general. So the characters don't look like they're stepping out of two different cartoons.
We got this aligned continuity from Transformers, where some franchises are in the same universe, like Transformers Prime, Robots in Disguise.
But that's more so. That's more so Hasbro trying to create their own universe of Transformers to cash in on the Avengers style universe that was budding at the time. That's not the same. That's trying to build a cinematic universe, or in this case, an animated a television universe, rather than a just a general crossover episode.
And then there's Scoob, which basically will start the entire Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe.
I think that's a dumb idea. I mean, I've already expressed my distaste of replacing the voice actors for Scoob, but I think a Hanna-Barbera crossover expanded universe, whatever, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
At least in the sense of a cinematic universe.
Dick Dastardly from Wacky Races into Scooby-Doo movie.
Well, it's just
That's
like
dumb as hell.
Scooby-Doo is always a fun concept. The mystery gang, and then you have the characters that are playing off of one another. That's always fun. I don't think there has ever been a Scooby-Doo.
This Falcon guy from a separate cartoon. Also made by Hanna-Barbera, and then I don't know. It must have been a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe or something.
Yeah, my point is like Scooby-Doo is a rather solid formula. You can pretty much milk that formula to the day it dies. It's like you got the group of the mystery teenagers go off and go solve a mystery together. There's loops and tricks and gags and throughout the whole thing. Everyone has pretty set characters, and you can do a lot with them. And they've done a lot with them. And there's very rarely do I ever get bored watching a Scooby-Doo movie or a Scooby-Doo cartoon, because usually you have the characters that these established characters that have been there for decades kind of playing off of one another. You don't get the same with other Hanna-Barbera cartoons. They do not have the same history behind them and the same characters and the same I would be very much surprised if Hanna-Barbera, or if Cartoon Network now, since Hanna-Barbera is basically defunct as a company, if Cartoon Network, Warner Brothers Animation, I would be very surprised if they can adapt classic Hanna-Barbera characters to a modern age appropriately, where in the sense of like not doing a stupid live-action movie like Yogi Bear
and that Scooby-Doo thing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those Scooby-Doo movies. Those live-action ones. I'd rather them keep it animated. Scooby-Doo is one of those movies or one of those concepts where it works way better as an animation than it does live action.
Yeah. Hell, I even watched.
We probably missed a ton of questions. I probably got to go check back. Nate, can you see if you liked my cool art just so I can see if I can enjoy the character? Okay. He is giving me permission to talk about it. Yes, this is overall way better in terms of character design capabilities. What you sent in here, way better. You got some interesting looking designs here. My biggest concern about the designs, I would say, is they kind of be other than the mechanical stuff. The mechanical stuff all looks pretty fun. I would say my biggest critique about it is a lot of them kind of look more like they kind of fit a same body style, where it's the busty, thick woman kind of body style. I would say play more with concepts that have more fun with other types of body styles. Maybe have some male characters and not so much. Maybe not even just the big muscular sexy men style. I'm maybe like a really thin guy who's weak and maybe recluse from a society. Maybe he's a loner and stuff like that. You draw that body style and you draw that character, or maybe you draw a jolly old fat guy where he's very happy all the time and he's very fat and he's very happy, very the grandpa character. He's like, oh, little Timmy, that sort of thing. Have more fun with those types of, like, some more variety in the character designs, in the body shapes and stuff. So you're not designing the same body shape over and over again with some different parts swapped on it. That being said, I think your mechanical truck here sketch is pretty fun, and I think your mechanical arms here also has some really fun detail. I mean, you're clearly thinking about how these machines operate, which is very good, and where the gears are and where they turn and stuff.
that's very good when you're coming up with machine designs. And then as for the colored concepts, even though my critique stands of they all kind of share the same body type, the art at least itself with the line work and the shading and stuff like that, that at least is has a specific style, and it's like well crafted, I guess would be the proper term. I can tell I can tell you're in the beginning stages of your digital art style, but at the same time you got promise. I would just recommend again having more fun with different body types than the standard busty woman archetype. That'd be my critique of what you sent in. But yes, this overall though, this is much better than sending in the same Jenny Brad than we know from the series.
Plants loves it when apparently you ramble about one question for 10 to 15 minutes and miss like 6 questions. One of which he will get you to ramble again, repeat the whole entire cycle, and
oh no,
make a freaking game out of this.
Someone's mimicking Cave Johnson over there. I don't want your lemons, combustible lemons. I want to play.
Every villain is lemons.
I want to play the Portal series again. That is such a fun series.
Yeah, every villain is lemons. Actually, that's grammatically incorrect. And most stupidest initials I have ever heard.
I will give the live-action Scooby-Doo credit. They found a good guy to play Shaggy.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Lizard.
Yeah, and he ever since the original voice actor passed away, he has been.
No, not Lizard. The same guy who played 13 Ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Played that. You know the guy from 13 Ghosts.
So I will give that guy credit. He does a good Shaggy, but I'm more so against. I don't know. By translating Scooby-Doo into live action, you take away a lot of the fun of the animation aspect of it, the animated aspect. That you lose the cartoony people hiding behind poles and stuff like that, and their whole bodies concealed. You lose the ability to go through the ability to go through multiple doors, and even though they're coming out of different rooms, that kind of cartoony fun. The cartoony fun.
It's a bit.
That Scooby-Doo can bring to the table. That's the whole fun.
Score,
that's the whole fun and
like
charm.
A Danny Elfman knockoff.
Well, I'm not. The score is something. The score changes all the time for Scooby-Doo. I'm more so talking about the style of what a Scooby-Doo cartoon is.
I was talking about the score by David Newman. You know.
Yeah,
the guy.
I know. He
did
the score, Ice Age.
Scores for 102 Dalmatians, Ice Age, which is pretty cool, by the way.
But I'm more so. I don't deny that might be an act. I haven't listened to the Scooby-Doo soundtrack. I don't deny that it might be generic sounding. I'm more so just talking about the notion of making a live-action Scooby-Doo in general. It's better. The Scooby-Doo series is just better off as a 2D animated cartoon. And I mean, granted, I'll see now that it's coming to digital. I would have not seen it in 3D in theaters, but now that it's coming to digital, I'll take a look at that CG Scoob. But I'm already getting like bad vibes from it that A, this voice cast has been completed, and B, Scooby appears to be saying full sentences, and that's really weird. It's just not the same. It comes off as kind of creepy, honestly. Yeah, Necrolotus original. I would say that judging by the art style, the art stuff that you sent here, that your art style is developed enough that you can absolutely design some fun-looking characters for us. It's just, again, I would just warn you that stay away from the same type of body shape the entire time, because when you're designing characters, of course, you want to go for variety. You want to go. I think everyone knows the general rule of when you're designing a character, you want to make sure that their black silhouette is different from everybody else on the show. That you can see, if you colored their entire silhouette or their entire shape black, you could still point out that character is this person or amongst the crowd, so they don't blend in. If you have multiple characters of the exact same body shape, they start to blend in real fast. Alright, we have about 10 minutes left in this meeting. I think now would be the opportune time to drop a funny story about this, what I'm about to drop today. MCP showed up in the live stream for the fanbase server the other day. Roasted me a few times. It's all good. We're good friends. It's roasted in good taste. However, she did completely forget to drop this because this was meant to be dropped in that live stream. I gave her permission, I gave her the link, I gave her everything, and she just completely forgot to drop this. So let me grab the link so you guys can see a new animatic preview. And this will likely be the last preview that you guys see until we go until we drop the full part 1 animatic of Activation Day. So, like I said, full disclosure, this may be the last animatic preview you guys get for a while until we complete part 1 of the Activation Day animatic. So, keep that in mind. That being said, there are minor spoilers in this. It's an extension of the scene you've already seen. It's the scene where Jenny is revealed for the first time to the camera. You kind of see the aftermath of that. It's basically the full scene. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say about it. It was completed about a month ago. Well, we're coming on about 2 months ago now. So, and it was supposed to be in the fan base live stream, but oh well. So let me.
Where is it?
I gotta link it.
Okay.
Oh, another disclaimer. Temporary music. All the music in there is temporary. There's compositions from James Horner. There's compositions from I forgot how to pronounce his name. Raymond Jawi. I forgot. The guy who composed the score for Iron Man, Pacific Rim, and Game of Thrones. There's temporary scores from each of those guys in there. The scores are just there to get the feel of the music. They don't represent what we're gonna use in the final copy. It's just to get the emotional feel. All right, so here's the link. And now that I've put the link up, I am going to screen share. Some people are already probably watching it. I probably should have set up the screen share before I sent that link. I am now going to screen share to the live stream the link I just shared. So give me a second. I probably should have set this up before I sent out that link.
Oh, I remember this. I commented last month.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Google, where are you? New tab. Ah, my computer is going nuts. Okay, hold on. I'll restart for the stream. Hold on. Pause it, please. Turn up the volume, and now I'm going to turn down my microphone.
Oh, we're doing the animatic thing now?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna turn down the microphone, my microphone, and I'm gonna turn down your guys' microphone, so the predominant sound that the audience hears is the animatic. I'll turn you guys up after those, and I'll turn myself up after as well.
goodness! Awesome! You lifted the entire thing! How cool! That was amazing! What else can you do? Can you fight monsters? Can you... Oh! You can shoot with this thing? Can you shoot rockets? Can you fly? Hey, I don't bite. It's okay. You don't have to be scared. Whoa. So, where did you come from? Can you talk? I guess not.
Turn me back up. Turn you guys back up. You're at, and then you're at 102 now. Okay, there we go. That was the animatic for that. I'm gonna get rid of that and bring back OBS to that. Okay, now I'll bring back chat and answer any questions about it. Okay.
Awesome as it should be.
Yay, it's pretty... Yeah, I think it's pretty fun.
Personally. The boards were done by a combination of Eric's own storyboards. I did a few storyboards myself, and I think Sean also helped out with the storyboards on that scene. So, 3 people doing the storyboards on that one.
Yeah.
Actually, that was the ones, the few scenes I didn't.
No, you sent in some ones that I'm giving you credit for. Like, you sent, there was a period in time when we were working on that, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to draw this, and then you just, like, you sent in some real quick sketches that I then took, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see what we can do.
Yeah, now I okay.
So that's what I gave you credit for there. But anyway, let's see.
Oh boy!
Let me see if there's any questions. Oh, why was Jenny speechless? That's a good question, guys. That's a good question.
Oh boy!
Okay. I should address that because that is, I guess it's technically, it is technically a spoiler. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the episode, cover your ears or stop listening to the live stream. But it is technically a spoiler. The reason why Jenny is speechless in this is that it's actually a plot point for the episode. It's there is, as you'll see, and I guess this is a minor spoiler because it's something that happens in the beginning of the episode. It's not something like that's like three quarters of the way through. It's kind of at the beginning. So when Jenny is activated, she is activated early, and because of that, her vocal processor is still computing, and it's still like her internal processor is still computing information, and it's still booting things up. But because she's activated early, her voice modulator doesn't fully come online yet, and it's still trying to fix itself throughout the majority of this episode. And that is why she is not speaking properly in this clip. So again, minor spoiler. It's not that bad, but that's why. Did you guys get the rug pulled out of you though with that, where it's like, can you talk? And then the camera leans in. It's like, and then it's like.
Yes, it's a prequel episode.
Yes, it is a prequel episode. It's Activation Day. It's following the first day that Jenny is activated. 5 years prior to the original Teenage Robot. after this prequel episode, everything else that occurs in Rebooted comes after season 3 of Teenage Robot Rebooted. We just thought that it was I think we've answered this before, but we just thought it was it would be a fun way of reintroducing all the main characters if we literally introduced them for the first time as if it were an episode that occurs 5 years prior to the actual Teenage Robot. But to ease your qualms, yes, Jenny obviously eventually gets her voice. It's like, it's eventually, yes, she gets her voice. Don't worry. We're just having fun with the concept of her not being able to speak for a little bit. Alright, let's see. Oh, and the sound design... I probably should have put that in the description too, but the sound design was done by Eddie and me, a combination of both of us. Although Eddie mostly did the custom sound effects, while I kind of reached into the stock sound effect bin that I got on my hard drive. So he was more doing the custom sound design while I was doing just the basic sound editing. I'm losing my voice. I've been talking so much. Oh, what happened to Dr. Wakeman? You will find out. It's definitely... There's definitely a reason why Jenny is hiding out in an alleyway and why Wakeman is nowhere to be seen. There's definitely a reason. You'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, that being said, we have hit our 2-hour mark, everybody. So, we're going to be wrapping up here for today. Everybody, send in your final questions before we wrap up for the evening. And we'll answer them, and then we'll get to ending the stream. Jenny just didn't like Wakeman's toast. Yes, that is the reason why.
No. No.
She was fed up with Wakeman serving her toast.
No.
Yeah, it is.
How smart is Sierra? That's a good... about as smart as an 8-year-old girl would be.
Are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Sierra is kind of interesting, because I think we originally wrote her... Like, we originally were going for a... someone more Tuck's age, like 5 or 6. Well, I say Tuck's age, but he's in 4th grade. No, I'm sorry. We were more so going for Sierra, more of a toddler, like kind of the childlike innocence, but she eventually kind of grew up a little bit as we were writing her and as we were designing her. Now she's more an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, rather than the toddler we were going for originally. So she's about as smart as any 8-year-old, 9-year-old you'd expect. What Teenage Robot characters would you picture the Lego Movies characters? I don't really understand the question. Smash up mashups. I don't. Are you saying like which teenage
like crossovers?
And I think they're saying that which Teenage Robot characters are like which Lego Movie characters, but I don't know. They're really kind of separate characters overall. I don't really see them being similar. Because the Lego Movie is all about a misfit dude finding out he's the chosen one. And
this is a Lord of the Rings vibe here.
And then Jenny and Teenage Robot is more so about a superhero robot who is yearning
Trying to fit.
trying to fit in with everybody else. So it's kind of the reverse, honestly. The Lego Movie being about someone ordinary becoming something special, and Teenage Robot, someone special trying to become ordinary. It's kind of the reverse.
Yeah, something like that. Brad's ego.
Jenny Wakeman asked, dumb question. Not really. How smart is Dr. Wakeman technically, and does Jenny like Dr. Wakeman's toast since she didn't toast it good enough?
Probably just doesn't like
well-
the toast because she can't have it.
Yes. Jenny thinks Wakeman's toast is disgusting. Dr. Wakeman makes horrible toast. That's why Wakeman has a computer make her toast for her, because she doesn't know how to make toast. No, but seriously, Wakeman's intelligence, probably one of the few things that she has going for her. Wakeman is very smart, but as we know of Wakeman, she's kind of old, elderly. She's getting her youthful years are well over. That's not to say she can't stand up in a good fight. She can. But compare it to like Jenny or someone like, I don't know, Misty, Vega, all these people would be example who are probably better fighters than Wakeman. So her intelligence, she is the smartest character in the show. She's smarter than Sheldon by far. So she's pretty intelligent. GCN Elite, was I working on Rebooted on this live stream? Yes, I was. These are other storyboards from the Activation Day Animatic. I was just converting a few into 16:9 format because they were originally drawn, as you can see, in 4:3, as well as just pacing them out better into a proper animatic, because originally these are just pictures. Let's see if I can bring up one of these. See, like, this is what it originally looks like when you, at least these were the old template looks like. Now we have a new template that actually fits the 16:9 format, so we don't have to convert them anymore. But these are what the original 4:3 storyboards looked like when we drew them out. How we would translate them into an animatic format is that we would basically either, like I have here, bring up the file and then just kind of pose it in camera, or take pictures of these using, or preferably scanning, and then use those pictures as the boards. And what you can see an example of that right here. These are the pictures, you know, of actual pencil and paper. So there you go. All right. So that being said, I think that is the last question though of the day. Okay, we'll do this real fast, because I saw this one last question. What's your favorite episode from the show, and what's your least favorite episode that you hate? Let's do this. Rapid fire this, everybody. My favorite episode is Escape from Cluster Prime. Least favorite.
My favorite is
no school dropout.
Android.
So, everybody else, what's your favorite and least favorite episode? Go.
Favorite episode, Escape from Cluster Prime. Least favorite,
episode,
Impressive
Raggedy
Love.
Android and the Return of Raggedy Android. Least favorite, Robot for All Seasons and Victim of Fashion, Hostile Makeover.
All right.
Boy, Robot
Just
and
go
all
for
that.
one. Just go for one. one
right.
least favorite.
My least
Sean.
favorite is
Sean.
Victim of Fashion.
Sean, favorite episode and least favorite episode.
He left.
Oh, he left. Whoops. All right. Well, that's everything then. So, thank you guys for stopping by. See you guys next month. If everything goes well, the next live stream should be on May 31st. Wow, look at that. Right at the tail end of the month. So that should be the next live stream if everything goes well and it doesn't need to be delayed or anything like that. Plants 10,000 saying Escape from Cluster Prime is the best episode is a basic bitch option. I disagree, sir. I disagree. I think that's a great episode. Anyway, see you guys on the Discord and stuff. Have a good day, everybody. Stay safe. Don't touch your face. Wash your hands. Don't go out in public. Please do not go out in public. And please do not partake in any really stupid protests going around the nation right now, trying to preemptively open up the economy when the coronavirus is still very, very active. Please do not be stupid like that. Stay inside. It'll blow over eventually. You just gotta stay indoors.
Yeah.
So anyway, see you, everybody.
See ya!
Good day. Bye. That was